G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching the Wildkard Rugby Show. Like, comment, and subscribe. And yes, you are here today because I actually lied to everybody last week on my preview for the Springboks versus Argentina game. I said, and I quote, that the Springboks could regain the #1 ranking should they beat Argentina by more than 14 points. And I was wrong. The little calculator that I use on the website was accidentally collected that Springboks was playing away, so Argentina was at home, and which gave Argentina, you know, more of an advantage in terms of points calculation, which was the reason why the Springboks, according to my preview, was able to regain the #1 spot. But it was actually impossible. No matter how many points the Springboks scored, they could not win because they had the home ground advantage. So yeah, the Rugby World Rankings unchanged since last week. Springbok still #1 in the world in all of our hearts. And yeah, so the November Test Series is going to come up, and it's going to be very, very huge for us Southerners to regain some of those points, claw those points back to bring it down south, and we can share amongst each other. And yeah, so looking forward to the November Test Series, and let's have a look at the schedule that is coming up. So yeah, England, New Zealand coming up first on the first week on 2nd of November. Scotland, Fiji, second week, the big one. Ireland versus the All Blacks in the second week. And then England versus Australia, Italy, Argentina, France, Japan. On the third week, Wales versus Fiji, Scotland versus the Springboks. And on the fourth week, well, I guess that's still the second week. On the third week, Ireland, Argentina, Scotland, Portugal, England, South Africa. That's a big one there. France, New Zealand. Another big one where the All Blacks could win some points back and redeem themselves. Italy, Georgia, and Wales, Australia. Again, locked in perpetual warfare between the two nations. I love Wales, by the way. In case you don't know, I live in Wales. The greatest part of Wales, New South Wales, okay? And week number four, France, Argentina. Another huge one for the Argentinians to see if they have that consistency going. Ireland, Fiji, Wales versus South Africa, Italy versus New Zealand, and Scotland versus Australia, England versus Japan. And finally, the final match on the last week of a 5-week November, that is Ireland versus the mighty Wallabies. So yeah, after the Springboks has actually regained the rugby championship for the first time since 2019. Great celebrations to everybody and happy days for everybody in South Africa. There was some guy in the comment section told me that they're gonna rename the stadium to Twickenham because how good, you know, the Springbok has been performing there. I thought they should just change it to Eden Park. They should change Kings Park to Eden Park. Okay, that'll be a much better name change than changing it to Twickenham. Ugh, can't even say the word properly. It's not even an English word, okay? Twickenham, whoever came up with that name, all right? So yeah, Springboks end up in the Rugby Championship, 24 points, New Zealand 16, Argentina 14, and the Wallabies right at the bottom at number 5. I thought Argentina finished second, but unfortunately, they were not able to clinch that second spot over New Zealand due to bonus points differences. And in the post-match function, Felipe Contepomi, there was a bit of a controversial questioning because obviously we know the South African media likes to trigger the coaches. You know, the B team really set off. They have successfully set off. Did successfully set off Eddie Jones, and this weekend the South African media was able to set off Felipe Contepomi, who left the post-match interview early. So there was a question after that. Did Felipe speak to the referee, walk into the referee change room at halftime and speak to the referee? And Felipe got really pissed off by that. But like, I did not speak to the referee. I know Ben O'Keefe. We spoke to the after, and then he just like ended the interview, the post-match interview, and just, you know, stormed out like Eddie Jones, right? So that's another coach that the South African media has pissed off, and this was apparently some insider information. Some told them that this was the case, and Felipe firmly told him, "You need to be careful because you're a reporter, you need to check your information because that's a lie. Yeah, so pretty big cause there. And yeah, speaking of the spring tour, moving on to the Australian side, Joseph Swatley, the Sydney Roosters that he plays for, has been eliminated from the Melbourne Storm in the rugby league. So he's potentially able to travel to the November for the spring tour. It depends on the contract situation. He's potentially available. He did say that recently that he's ready to go to the spring tour, which left Joe Schmidt saying that he was not sure that's the case. He has not spoken to him. He was, in the Wallabies, if you get paid enough money, you get to make your own selections, right? So Joe Schmidt was like, I didn't really speak to him about that, but we'll be happy to have him. We'll see where is he at and see the contract situation, whether he's allowed to go or not. But yeah, so apparently he's now making his own selections to go to the spring tour. Speaking of great wingers, Junkyard Dog, one of the most promising upcoming young talents, has signed a 2-year deal with the Reds, so he will be staying to compete for that gold jersey, potentially coming up for the ranks. Speaking of the youngsters, Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu has been, obviously he was ruled out of a leg injury. He had a leg injury going to the second test match against the All Blacks, and he hid that fact from the management and played regardless with an leg injury, and it's actually turned out to be a lot worse than initially thought, and he is going to be potentially out for the November test series. And yeah, but it might not be the fact that he played the game led to the exacerbation of the injury. It's probably just he already was pretty bad and he just played on with the injury. So that might not necessarily be the case because the fact that he played an extra game with the injury. So yeah, it might not be the case, but yeah, it's not looking great for him. He's going to need surgery. There was the initial report was that it was going to be out in 5 weeks. And he was able to play in the November test series, but now it's looking like he's not going to be able to do so. And yeah, with that being said, big injury return, big return for the All Blacks. This has given me a lot of hope for the mighty All Blacks in the November test series. The return of Cameron Roigard. The halfback position has been a bit of a conundrum for the coaches. You either go with TJ Perenara, the old dog, you can't teach him new tricks, or you go with Cortez Dradama, who is a bit more maybe a bit too fresh to be absorbing too much information. So you have a bit of a two ends of the career there in the number 10 jersey, and having Cameron Roigard back, who's been absolutely sensational for the Hurricanes this year. He's basically, he was by far the best player in all of Super Rugby before he was injured. This will be a huge return for the All Blacks going into the November Test Series. And speaking of which, old mate Michael Cheika has been suspended for 2 weeks from his coaching duties with the Leicester Tigers. Only 1 week in. He's only had the job for 1 week and has been suspended for 2 weeks for having a bit of a challenge in the decision of a independent match doctor for a HRA. So there was a head-on-head collision between two teammates, and leading to Ollie Chesum being immediately removed. As it two teammates? Anyway, Ollie Chesum was removed from the game, and Michael Cheika was not happy about the decision. I guess he felt that Ollie Chesum could play on, and there was a bit of discussion, and the RFU, the England Union, basically found that he was disrespectful to the independent matchday doctor and suspended him for 2 weeks. And it was originally 3 weeks, and they dropped it down to 2. And this led to a lot of very unhappy Leicester Tigers management, because they felt like that Michael Cheika, there was obviously two sides of the story. They felt that Michael Cheika had a reasoning to questioning the TMO decision, which was should have been a valid reasoning to questioning, and there was evidence witnesses that backed on Michael Cheika's back Michael Cheika's on his reasoning. Despite that, the RFU still said there was disrespectful conduct and suspended him for 2 weeks. Yeah, pretty harsh there. And yeah, so the URC obviously started. I just want to say that the Stormers, the greatest player in the history of the Springboks, the greatest Springboks in the history of the Springboks, Damien Willemse with the returns from his finger injury and was not able to carry the Stormers to a win over the Ospreys. That's pretty disappointing. Losing to the Welsh is one of the worst feelings in the world. And yeah, so 37-24, despite hitting a drop goal, still able to win that one. Damien Willemse returning. So yeah, speaking of disrespectful conduct, obviously there was a lot of speculations at the end of the Rugby World Cup quarterfinal between the All Blacks and the Ireland. There was a bit of a back and forth chatting between Rieko, Ioane and Johnny Sexton. There was no, obviously there was reported that there was obviously some kind of disrespectful comments being levied against each other, and nobody knew exactly what happened. There were some speculations that Rieko told Johnny like 4 more years or something like that. You know, definitely something disrespectful was being said. And Johnny Sexton, with his new book coming out, has finally revealed what was said on the field that day, at least, you know, according to Johnny's recollections. He wrote in his book that there was a penalty, so Rieko Ioane coming up and start saying, you know, this was the end of the game, and Rieko Ioane basically came up and said, and it was the end of the game, all the All Blacks had to do is have the ball and kick the ball out and win the game. And Rieko Ioane starts saying, taunting Johnny, saying that penalty, back 10, and then get back 10 meters, and then Johnny Sexton is like, huh? And then eventually leading to, there was a bit of a confusion, eventually leading to Rieko Ioane telling Johnny Sexton, don't miss your flight tomorrow, enjoy your retirement, see you next Tuesday. Oh my goodness, he called him see you next Tuesday. Oh, what a legend, how, Rieko, didn't know you had that in you, but man, calling Johnny Sexton a see you next Tuesday, mate, you know, that is I guess on brand, you know, but you know, still quite disrespectful, and yeah, you know, the Johnny Sexton wasn't happy, calling him a fake humbler. You know, the All Blacks, you know, supposed to have a respectful culture, and yeah, Rieko Ioane, man, lots of pent-up frustration from Rieko's point of perspective, losing to Ireland multiple times, and Johnny Sexton, yeah, he is the big guy that everybody's going after, and yeah, well, finally revealed. There it is. You know, let me know your thoughts. It's just, I think a lot of people will agree with Rieko with that comment, but you know, Johnny Sexton, still a legend in the sport, probably should not have said that. Rieko definitely shouldn't have called him a see you next Tuesday. But anyway, moving on. So there was some talks that Johnny Sexton might return to Ireland as a skills coach and kicking coach for the Ireland national team, and so that could be something to look forward to. They might have another chat with Rieko Ioane in the near future. Augustine Creevy has kept his 39-year-old career alive. I mean, this guy came off the bench scoring a try against the All Blacks, winning the game for the Argentinians. He's an absolute machine still, and he's signed a 1-year deal with Benetton to be played in the URC. Dion Fury, one of the top players for the Stormers and for the Springboks, is looking to return for the fans against the Sharks on the 30th of November. This is the day that he's set to return. He had a bit of a leg injury early last season in the URC, I guess mid last season URC, and he's back. I was very worried that he might just call it a career after that season. It's good to see that he's continuing fighting. This guy never quits. 38 years of age, and I love this guy. He's an absolute legend. I saw some video where he was playing against the Western Force in 2012 or something, and it was like, it was bizarre, and it was like James O'Connor was on the other side, and James O'Connor looked like a 12-year-old kid, and Dion Fury was on the field playing hooker back then. Can't remember if he was playing for the Stormers still back then, but yeah, he was definitely playing in the Super Rugby at the time, back in over a decade ago at this point. And wow, it was just absolute incredible career. Continues. Clayton McMillan has been named the All Blacks 15 coach going into the spring tour. Next up, so yeah, speaking of James O'Connor, he announced last week that he was going to leave Australian rugby. The Reds could not keep him to stay in Queensland. And I thought he wasn't going to Japan or maybe America to finish off his career. But he has taken a step forward and moved up the ranks. He's going to the Crusaders. He's actually, well, not going to the Crusaders. There were some talks that he might be going to the Crusaders. And so it's not 100% confirmed. But Crusaders is currently lacking a 10. And they have a lot of youngsters that they might need, like an experienced 10 or experienced playmaker as someone who can guide them through. So obviously they have, you know, Rivers, Rehana, and Riley Hochepa as well. Two very, very promising players that the Crusaders looking to bring up through the ranks. And finally, the Super Rugby schedule has been determined. It's going to be 11 teams, 16 rounds with the kickoff February 14th next year. And yeah, it'll be interesting. Like we already reported before this, there will be a qualifying round going into the semi-finals with the top 6 teams. Six teams qualifying for the qualifying round, and the winner of the 3-6 teams will go to the quarterfinal, and the highest rank amongst the 3 losers in the pool stage will go out as the 4th team in the semi-final, and then obviously semi-final go up to the finals from there in the traditional fashion forward. But yeah, looking forward to Super Rugby as well. I want to do a bit of a URC. We'll have to see. The scheduling is a bit difficult, and obviously costs quite a bit of money to, you know, it's like $20 a month or something, or $15 a month or something on the side to get access to URC. So we'll have to see how that goes. And yeah, anyway, that's the news for this week. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to be traveling a bit to visit my folks. So the next couple of weeks, I might be recording out of a different background, out of my mum's basement, essentially. And my mum's dungeon, potentially. And, you know, we'll have to see how that goes. And, yeah, we'll see if everything works out. And, anyway, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. And have a good one, guys. I'll see you guys next week. Cheers.